to see where we can collaborate. Now on to our final panel discussion. It is based on the industry perspective. We have got both the Malaysia and the Brazil Semiconductor Industry Association. Firstly, from Malaysia, Dato Seri Wong Siew. He has 29 years of working in the E&E industry in Malaysia, semiconductor industry. He started his career at Intel, and since then he's been an advocate and a big supporter of the semiconductor and electronics industry in Malaysia. He is currently very involved in all things electronics and industry. He is also the president of the Malaysia Semiconductor Industry Association, for which I'm from there as well. So can I invite Dato Seri Wong Siew to give his presentation? Dato Seri Wong, thank you.
Thank you very much, Andrew. And also I'd like to congratulate Ambassador Quintala for organizing this Brazil, ASEAN and Semiconductors this event, webinar, as well as inviting me to this forum. So thank you very much. First of all, let me introduce the E&E industry in Malaysia. Next, please. Yeah. Okay, this industry or this association came about as a result of the pandemic. Okay, during the pandemic, this E&E industry or the semiconductor industry was not very well organized. We were not able to get our voice across on some of the concerns and issues facing the industry. So we decided to get it organized, and in January 2021, we formed this MSIA, the Malaysia Semiconductor Industry Association, and it was launched on April 6, 2021 by our Deputy MITI Minister at that time, Dato Lim Ban Hong. The four key areas that we are focusing on is R&D and technology, trying to strategically grow this segment and be more involved in design development and acquiring new technology. Then we have the ecosystem. We want to build and enhance our current ecosystem from merely assembly test to more and beyond assembly and test. Of course, we are the collective voice for the semiconductor industry, where we advocate the industry's issues as well as recommendations to the government as to be how to be globally competitive as well. So these are the four areas that we focus on. Somehow there is a black thing on my screen. I don't know why. Next, please. Yeah. So since the January 2021, we now have 206 members from 10 states in the country, and whose parent company or their headquarters come from 18 countries. The members, 44% of members are from Malaysia, US, Canada, and Asia Pacific, about 24%, and Europe, about 9%. Next, please. Oh, one more thing, that we, for the voice of the E&E industry, we have been sought after by all international media, not just Malaysia, Singapore, Taiwan, Hong Kong, Japan, to ask of our opinions and inputs of the industry, as well as Bloomberg and CNBC. We were interviewed on the TV 4 times by CNBC and twice by Bloomberg during the peak of the shortage of the semiconductor components. Next, please. We generated a map to commemorate our 50th anniversary, was celebrated last year. And this map just shows all our members that spread out throughout the whole country. So just now I told you about the 10 states. The biggest one is in Penang, on the island. I don't know whether you can point there. Up north on the left-hand side, where the line shows, this is the bulk of the members. We have about half the members from the northern region, which we dub it as the Silicon Valley of the East. And then we have companies spread throughout the whole of Malaysia, all the way to the south in Johor, as well as we have a company in Sarawak called XFAB, and another member all the way on the east coast, which is Kelantan, Kelantan. So this is how the spread out is, and hopefully we can enhance of this map over the next couple of years to show the cluster. Okay, now we're just showing our members. Next. So last year, as I said, we celebrated 50 years anniversary. You heard earlier by our Deputy Minister that we started in 1972. And since then, we have grown by leaps and bounds, to until last year with 50 years and this year 51 years. So in 1972, our export value was 230 million, and last year it was 593 billion. So you can see this growth, not only just from semiconductor, but semiconductor has grown into solar, LEDs, medical device, and many more. We have expanded in that area and enhancing the supply chain. Not only that, we have many global companies, Malaysian companies, who are called powerhouses of Malaysia, that has gone global and have the potential, to go global. Next. So this is just some of our association events. Every year we hold an E&E forum. Next one coming up is will be held on November 6th. So if you all can dial in, it's hybrid. You can also dial in and listen to some of the topics that we are presenting and discuss. And in August, we held our Malaysia Merdeka celebration. It is our annual dinner kind of a thing. And so we have also other events like ESG, where we had a tremendous response because we're trying to get more companies embarking on the sustainability and ESG, especially the Malaysian companies itself. We also participated in the Semicon Southeast Asia this year with a Malaysian pavilion, and we intend to have the same in Kuala Lumpur with a Malaysian pavilion. Next. So as you know, as mentioned a few times already, that Malaysia is a key player in the global semiconductor supply chain. 7% of the total global semiconductor trade flows through Malaysia, and the capacity of assembly tests, we have about 13% of that capacity located in Malaysia. So Malaysia actually is among the top 10 in the world in terms of contribution to the global semiconductor supply chain. Next, yeah, okay. This one just shows the contributions of the E&E industry in Malaysia. As you know, in 2021, the export was at 456 billion ringgit, and that was an increase, 18% increase over 2020. In 2022, it was 593 billion ringgit, and it is a 30% increase over 2021. So the total export from E&E industry now is averaging around between 38 to 40%. Okay, then that's quite significant. As you can see, the January to August number for 2023 is about 380 billion versus last year, January to August 2022, it is also about 380. So this one is about 1 billion, slightly more than last year. What is this showing is that there is the semiconductor export is holding in Malaysia. Most of the countries, they are going down, but we are holding. And one of the reasons for this is the geopolitical tension that we have, companies moving their volume from China to Malaysia. Now, the other things that you can see here is that for employment, the E&E industry contributes something like 590 jobs, 1,000 of jobs, and contribution to GDP is about 6.85% to the country. Other dimensions include, other than manufacturing, we have technology and knowledge transfer, global supply chain, design development, and global and regional leadership. We have many leaders who are leading the companies in Malaysia, not just in Malaysia, in Vietnam, and in China. Next. So this is the graph that shows how we have performed for the E&E industry. The cumulative annual growth rate is about 13% over the last 7 years, and accounting 38%, which I've already covered. Okay, next. So for RMK12 and the National Industrial Master Plan 2023, MSIA actually spent a lot of time contributing to the development of the plan, especially for E&E. So for the first time in the Malaysia National Plan, we E&E is classified as a strategic and a high impact industry. Is one of the 8. In the past Malaysia plans, it is all buried under manufacturing. So this is how we have influenced the government to understand the importance of this industry and why it is important for the government to support it and nurture it and grow it. Next. So, as you know, it was just now presented by Linda. The semiconductor revenue, global semiconductor revenue for 2022 is about 550 billion US. It is projected to grow to 1 trillion US by 2030. So the question is, how is everyone positioning itself to participate in that growth? So for Malaysia, we have talked about enhancing our ecosystem, going up the value chain, and trying to grow at the same rate as the global growth. So one of them is to attract FDI fabs, that is 28 nanometers to probably 40 nanometers. If we can get that, that would be good, because we are already very strong in assembly and test, and we need to just enhance ourselves to go up the value chain into wafer fab. We have some wafer fab, but I think we really need more. Then we are looking at how do we develop Malaysian homegrown companies, especially in design development. So we are also, again, very strong in automation, especially for the semiconductor industry. However, there are many more that we can do to make them into a global company, and also develop SME, especially in their growth and keeping up with technology by getting the multinational as well as a large local company to buy local. So our approach, let's explain to the government, double down on where we are successful and can compete, and then move up the value chain into wafer fab and design development. We have now, for example, in IC design, we have a few IC design companies, probably not enough local companies. We have many foreign MNC design companies, IC design companies, but for local Malaysian companies are very few. But we are proud to say that for first time, we have a company who can do IC product design. Most of the IC companies we have in the past are mainly providing design services. So hopefully they can be successful. For a 3-year-old company, they already have more than 20 IPs, and hopefully we can get their product completed and then grow that company and become a global company. Last but not least is the war on talent. As you know, the whole world says that they are short of talent, and they have to do something. In our country, Malaysia, we have about 10 to 20% of our talents leave the country for so-called greener pastures. And I assume other countries also face the same problem. That created a hole. And also we have, on the other end, fewer students start taking up science and engineering. So what is happening is that other countries are using our talent, taking away our talent by coming to Malaysia to hire our talent, and they would leave for countries like Singapore, US, England, Australia, and so on. It now include Taiwan and China. We are advocating to our government that we need to have the same strategy to use other countries' talents to help the Malaysian E&E industry to grow and flourish, and especially in design development. So that's a challenge that we are working on, and hopefully we'll make progress in that area. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Dato Seri Wong.